It's commonplace for us to pass comments like, nobody's perfect and everyone makes mistakes. But how honest are we with that reality? If we really think about it, although we may say things like, no one's perfect, it's okay to make mistakes, it's hard for us to accept that we are also part of everyone. So we can make mistakes. And sometimes, regardless of how much we want to be right, no matter how much we thought that something was, we are wrong. We are also part of the people that make mistakes. But it seems that when we believe that we have a solid argument because we took the time to make an equation, that it makes the result right. Not because there is a correlation in the building of the argument does it make the argument just. And the sooner we start to realize that, is the sooner we can start to adapt to reality and live a better life. A lot of times we're asking ourselves, what's wrong with what we're doing? We're in situations where we feel that we're doing everything right, we're working hard, we're putting our attention where our attention needs to be put, we're staring away from the wrong crowd, just focused on the right things, but everything seems to be going wrong. The reality that you've been asking for, the reality that you're longing for does not seem to be appearing. It seems like you're working so hard to just run yourself into a wall. If this is you, maybe it's time to stop and really think about what is happening around you. Are you really doing the right thing, or do you just believe you're doing the right thing? Are you really working hard, or are you just working hard as you think that you can, or as you think that you should? Because it's two very different things. If you could look around and assess your life and realize that the reality that you have is not the reality that you believe that you've been working for, maybe it's time to reassess the way that you're working and how hard you're working versus how smart you're working. Because as the saying goes, if you're digging yourself a hole, the best advice to follow is to stop digging. Now, this does seem obvious, but sometimes it really isn't. Sometimes we're the types of people that just don't know how to listen. Sometimes we're the type of people that don't know how to take advice. And because of this, we think we're always right. And because it's not always easy to recognize that we're this type of person, the best exercise for you to do right now is to really evaluate your life. Look at your life in the span of 10 years or 5 years and really consider how far you've come. Consider all the goals that you've set yourself. Consider all the actions that you've taken to accomplish those goals. Now, take a moment to assess and appreciate how those actions really affected your journey. Were the actions that you've taken to get to where you want to go constructive? Did they really help you to propel you forward to where you want to be, or not that much? So if we're looking at this like a distance and your goal or where you want to be is 100 feet away, how many feet did the last action that you do propel you forward by? Was it 5 feet, 10 feet? Was it 20 feet? Was it no feet at all? Really be honest with yourself and reflect on the things that you've done. And if after this exercise you realize that most of the actions that you've taken have not led you to where you want to be, despite what you believed and despite what you thought would happen, it is time to come to the realization that you may be that person. And this is why it's important to accept that not because we think we're right, or not because what we've done in the past has been right for us in one moment, doesn't mean that it's going to consistently be right throughout our lives. Sometimes we need a moment to reevaluate the actions that we're taking so that we can actually live the life we want to live in reality, as opposed to within the confines of our own mind. Sometimes all it takes is to realize what we're doing. It's not easy to realize that the direction that you're going is the wrong direction, but once you do make that direction, a new life is possible. Yes, we are working hard. Yes, we are putting in the effort. Yes, we are making sacrifices every day to be where we want to be. But just because you are making the sacrifices, that doesn't mean that you're making the sacrifices in the right direction. You could be working really hard. You could be putting in a lot of hours. But the things that you need to do to get to where you're going is the opposite of what you're doing. I'll give you an example. If any of you have ever played basketball, you've had a coach that always tells you that it's all about the fundamentals. It's all about having the proper handle, playing defense, and coming in for a shot or a layup as close as possible whenever you can, as opposed to doing anything too fancy, as opposed to doing anything too complicated. Although this may be sound advice in some circumstances, it is not the best advice in all circumstances. Sometimes it takes for you to take that 3-point shot, or it takes for you to drive into the key and dunk the ball, because that's what is needed for that circumstance. This does not mean that your coach was wrong. This just means that sometimes changing your approach is what is needed in order to succeed at your game, because not all games are the same. Not because we all live a life that we all live the same life. Not because we all want to make it to point B that the journey that we're going to take between A and B is going to be the same. Changing your strategy and being adaptable, being coachable in the game of life is what will always lead you to a won game. Because even if you lose the match, you're gaining info, and new info means that you're able to change your approach for the next time. So as long as you're in the game, you can win the game. Evaluate your life, and this doesn't mean to forget what your coach taught you, but this means that not just one set of information is what is going to help you for the rest of your life. Sometimes you need multiple presets of information in order to solve one problem. And at the end of the day, it's not the information that's going to save you. Rather, it's your ability to adapt when you're faced with new challenges in your life. So, although you may be working hard, although you may be doing what is necessary to get yourself ahead, if you're not getting ahead, really reevaluate what is being done. Maybe it's about doing that same work in a different way. Maybe it's about thinking about it in a different way so that you could take everything that you have and bring it to a different environment so that you can get the results that you're looking for. Mainly, it is important to remember that you're never as stuck as you think you are. Actually, being stuck is a state of mind. When you are at a moment in your life where you feel it's a crossroads, where you feel any decision is better than the last because everything that you're doing is not working, really rethink about the information that is being presented to you. The universe is always working for you. And there's lessons within your day right now that are answers for the future of who you are to become. You're never stuck, even when it seems that you are. But just accept that nothing changes unless the way that you think changes. Nothing moves unless you move first. You are going to reap what you sow, but be mindful of what you are reaping and how you are reaping. It's like planting seeds. If you have perfectly healthy seeds and you put them in the ground anyhow and anyway, they're probably not gonna grow in the way that you feel that they should grow. However, if you are educated on how to plant seeds, and if you're educated on how to water and nurture the seeds so that they can flourish in the best way possible, you will have a different result. So in both of these examples, yes, you did have the seeds necessary. In both of these examples, yes, you did plant them, but because in one example, you did not know how to take care of the seeds that you've planted, you were unable to reap the benefits of what you've done. But in the second example, because you were able to realize that maybe you don't have the information, you were probably able to go look for the information or ask for the information on how to take care of your seeds. And the result is you have perfect crops. Sometimes it's not what you're doing, it's the way that you're doing it. And even worse, sometimes we create the hell that we're in because we refuse to see outside of what we're doing. In that exact same scenario, we're arguing with ourselves. We planted the seeds. Why is it not growing? If this is the seeds, I know it's the seeds. I invested all this money to get the perfect seeds, and I know I have to plant them. I planted them and they're not growing. What is the problem? And we start to live in this cycle of, I did what I had to do and I failed. And even worse, sometimes we start to compare ourselves to others. We're like, John's seeds are growing. Ashley's seeds are growing. How come my seeds are not growing? And we start to say, oh, it's because they have this and they have that, and we don't have this and we don't have that. Put life against ourselves and start speaking negativity into our reality. All because we refuse to take a moment and ask ourselves why. All because we refuse to reassess what we're going through. And then it becomes disgruntled reality for us. It becomes the hell. We created the hell because we refuse to say, maybe there's another way. Just maybe we were wrong. So give yourself a moment. Reevaluate your life. If you feel stuck right now, if you've ever feel stuck, give yourself a moment to assess what you did to become in that situation. Give yourself a moment to assess how you reacted to that moment and how you perceive that situation. And once you give yourself this moment, you're able to accept that there may be different information available out there to make your tomorrow a better reality. When you take this moment to assess what you're going through and what you've been through, you'll start to realize if you were digging yourself into a hole the whole time. But as the saying goes, if you're digging yourself in a hole, the best advice is to stop digging and start reassessing what you're doing. Start taking in the information differently. It doesn't mean that there's different information to take in. It's just your perspective that needs to shift by even just a small angle so that you can understand what you're going through differently and approach it in a way that will lead you to the success that you want to see. Thank you so much for listening today, and welcome back to the Uncle Prince Show. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Please comment, I love myself. Even if you've already commented, comment again, I love myself. Sometimes we need to see it, we need to type it out, put that in the universe so that we could recognize it, even if just for a second. Because with that love can eventually come transformation into the person that you are always destined to be. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you here next time on the Uncle Prince Show. Hello, Howell family. I wouldn't say I'm back, but I'm kind of back. If this message resonates with you, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm elated to be speaking to you today. I'm elated to be sharing this message with you today. It's something that really touches me, something that has affected me, and something that I know affects you or has affected you in your lifetime. Thank you so much for listening to this video or watching this video. I appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing day. Until next time.